Hi, Small. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Perfect. What's up, Rowan? What the heck? What's up, dude guy? What it do? What it do? What it do? What's up, everyone? What's up, Small? Hello, hello, hello. How are you, Small? How are you doing on this lovely day? This good late night day? I woke up like an hour ago. Lovely sleep schedule I'm having here. Tired, but I dyed my hair. Dubs. My sleep schedule is like really, really messed up. Let me go on Twitter real quick and see how I'm live. How did you used to wake up at 5 a.m. for work and now you wake up at 10 p.m.? Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, dude. I need to, you know, yeah. I gotta get back into the gist of things. I try staying up for 24 hours, but it's just like impossible for me. I can't. So Star, hello. How are you, Star? I literally cannot though. I can't stay awake. I can't like just sleep. I don't know. If I just touch my bed, I just pass out. So today I passed out like at 1 p.m. So I gotta get back. I gotta get back into the gist of things again. Gotta keep yourself busy to stay awake at 24 hours. Yeah, but like, I'll drink like coffee and then just like, you know, just like stay awake still. I might just go low key. I might just do looter. I heard this is like really good because you get leg potion. This increases the chance of finding rare loot from the chest, instructions, and fishing. That's crazy. Okay. I might I'm gonna do solos. I have a rush strat, I think. Unless they patched it. I don't think so though. Let me do this to preview. Coffee's L makes you crash after caffeine effect. That, yeah, I mean it does low key. I might just go to I might just do no caffeine and just do I might just go to the gym after stream. Why do you stream at Count Dracula ass hours? Pop Blue. My sleep schedule is fucked, dude. I gotta stream at earlier, bro. I know. If I stream early, I'll be fine, but my dumbass just stays awake all night. Hi, Naughty. Hello. How are you, though, Star? Pop Blue is right, to be honest. I know. This is bad hours. Trust. That's insane. It is insane. It is very much insane. It's alright, though. It's alright. I can grind. I just need one more win so I can get back on leaderboards. I'm on number 10 right now. So it's like witching hour, my dude. Bro, it's fine. It's fine. Let me just clock in for the day and then I'll be fine. I know, dude, Bobbly. You're gonna be playing all day, bro. It's really fun, bro. I enjoy it. Oh, Cypher. By the time you fix your sleep schedule, I'm gonna be free for my 8 a.m. job for your DJ hours, but for now I have work in the morning. Oof. Oof. Wait, you quit, right? Testicle, what's up, dude? Yo, that's funny. Bob, I love you. What's up, Grace? Wait, Bob, thoughts on just me and you going to the Travis Scott concert in Chicago? I'm playing Fortnite again? Nah, dude, no way. Wait, is it true that they bring back the OG map? Oh, me and you, Travis Scott concert, December. No, you don't. You don't like Fortnite. Stop lying. Remember the good old days? No, I don't. November 3rd. Oh, November 3rd. Chicago's wild though. Bro, Bablu. It's fine. It's fine. I'll be chill. I've never actually been anywhere. Okay, but I've been to like Vegas. I've been to Arizona. I've been to Ohio. No, not Ohio. Vegas, Utah, Arizona. Yo, do you know where I've actually experienced like actual like okay, it was not really like hate crime, but like that's when I stepped into a Chick-fil-A in Arizona. Dude, oh my god. They literally all just stared at me. They're like, what is this guy doing here? He does not belong here. It was so weird, dude. I was like, I'm gonna leave. I did not buy anything, bro. Showing. I'm down to go to Chicago, then. Enough for Chicago. I mean, I'm down for New York. Did I tweet out that I'm live? Can someone like be my Twitter manager and just hold on. If you can't sleep like me, come watch my stream, please. Watch me play Minecraft. There you go. Go here. Dude, I need a grind for a partner, bro. But streaming at these hours is not helping. Did you go to Utah? Heard it's great? No, not going to Utah. What's in Utah? Literally just Salt Lake City. That's it. Chicago's only wild if you make it wild. True. No shall be flying somewhere. We're going to Chicago. Like, I read that already. I have any, by the way. Good morning. Monkus, it's an admin. Monkus. Go to a rave in Chicago? A rave? I don't know about all that. I literally live like next to a rave concert that happens every year. But I don't know if I want to go to that. Yeah, I'm actually curious. Is it? Because I saw some YouTube ranks today advertise their YouTube channel. Can I do that here? No, right? Surely not. Because I know on Hypixel it's like you can only advertise if you have YouTube rank. Can you do that? I don't know. Sounds fun, but hell. True. Did you watch Beat Servers upload? Yeah, dude, I know. Watch, I know the strat. There's a new strat. There's a crazy strat about Blue. Let me show you. It's literally just like rushing. Watch. I'm gonna show you. I just gotta go closer to 0-0. And then I just rush a certain thing. Well, it's actually already. I hope it's not patched yet. Speed server video was fire. True. Yeah, we can B-hop. I love it. Me and Jasmine talked about rave concerts. Who's Jasmine? Oh, uh-oh. Oh, fuck. I didn't mean to punch that. Wait, how long did they chase me for? Oh, no. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Oh, they still see me. They still see me. It's fine, we're chill. Government immediately is surely the best strat, right? I mean, yeah. But strat for me, I go nether. Low key. Mod Jasmine. Oh. I was like, your friend Jasmine? Yeah, I don't know them. Yo. Yeah, my friend Jasmine from work, you know her, yeah. Yo. Did you actually like it, dude, guy? Bastions are nuts because of gold. Yeah, but I don't know, dude. Dude, if I have like 7 golden apples, dude, they're not gonna do anything for me. I just hope they haven't patched the specific extra ultimate I go for. All right, let's go dig down. Wait, so Jasmine goes to EDM concerts or rave concerts? Testicle, why are you awake right now, Testicle? I hope you get some. Bro, I'm not gonna get stung, bro. What if they're chasing me right now? Pablo, let me just show you how you win these games. What's up, Crystal? Yo, what's up, Qndres? Yo, what's up? What's up? Studying late. Ah, I see. W study. See. I need. This is not a good cave. I probably should have gotten looter, but it's fine. I want to use my own. I gotta test some. Oh, song tickled my head and like crazy. I know. I love Travis Scott. I will let Travis Scott. Never mind. Give me a water bucket. I don't know what you can. Or I don't know what that meant. The teardrop overnight meant, and I looked it up. Crazy shit, dude. Actually crazy shit. How you get a teardrop overnight? There's a meaning behind that. I didn't know that. Ow. Gravel, that's all I need now. Can I be gravel up here? Dude, y'all don't even know the strat, bro. This strat's crazy. If I can do it, of course. But I would also need to find 1 GP, but I can get that later. Yo, gravel. Yo, any oh, I think I see it. Oh, okay. That's works amazing then. Now I just need leather and sugarcane. Okay. Alright. Okay. Got 3 diamonds total. I just need 1 more diamond then. 5. Actually, no. I need 3 more diamonds total. Yo, the good GP. JP. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. No, I know. Alright, we got this. Oh god, okay. Oh, where is it? Be drunk. That's a fortress, damn it. Okay, then I just need to find a... I suck at Hoplite. It's alright. What, do you play solos? What do you play? Seven a bit. Okay. I would recommend practicing PvP beforehand. That's what I would recommend. Wait, I could just rush pots. Low key, I think I could just rush pots here. Recommend strength 3, strength 2. I think that could be the meta. That could be meta. Okay. I don't know though. I don't know. I know that's a team meta, but I'm not sure about solo meta. I hear someone. I hear someone. I hear someone. I hear someone. No, 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 no. This is
never, there's never a shit. There's no pots.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, if that's cut off, there's no pots.
Oh my god. It's fine. I have what I need though. I got what I need.
Yeah, give me some blaze rods.
What's the point of having blaze rods? It's only like an underbow, right?
No.
What else? Tell me. Educate me.
No, I'm good.
Teach me.
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Go
good.
back.
Huh?
Thought we go way back, man.
Yeah, I ain't gonna teach you the meta, bro. I ain't gonna teach you. I ain't gonna teach you.
Terrified of me. Yeah, I'm the goat. I know.
No, no, you go back. You go back in there. You go back in there.
Yeah, bro.
Fine. Just practice more. I just need to find a piglin, bro. How much gold is this? I just hope it can give it to me. Oh, I don't think it's gonna give it to me though. Wait, is there 2 fortresses? No. Oh damn. I don't think I can find another piglin on time. What are the rates for a 1.20 pearl trades? Anyone know? Are they horrible? I hope not. I really do hope not. If anything, I can just rush. I think it's slow. No, I want this to be a bastion thing. Yo, is there even... Do they spawn? Like, I don't know if they spawn. Maybe I just get out now? What's up, Angel? How are you, man? Qndres, I would stay, but I have important to do tomorrow. Yeah. Yo, Lackey! Lackey, thanks for the raid. How was the stream? I'm playing Solos, guys. For those of you guys that are coming in, I'm a solo player. W solo player. Welcome, 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 welcome. Oh no. Thank you, swine. It's true that you're still bald. Actually, no. My long lost cousin actually. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Lackey. Hi, Lackey. Lackey, I got FOMO of Twitch gone. It's okay. He is. Don't listen to him, bro. I'm not bald, bro. I actually need to get a haircut soon, like, troll. Hoplite addict? I am a hoplite addict. Dude, everyone said... I don't know. It's fine, though. It just makes me want to grind more on Twitch now. It's crazy, because when I went to VidCon, it made me want to grind... It made me want to grind... YouTube, and then now at TwitchCon happened, I want to grind Twitch. It's insane, bro. It's the effect. It's the convention effect. I think everyone has it. Everyone that's a content creator that gets that. He has -1 hair, but good night. Okay. Oh, someone got banned. L cheater. It's fine. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it, Blaze King. Welcome to the stream. I hope you guys are having fun playing Hoplite. This is by far a good bet, the best ever so far. I'm not gonna lie. What's up, Victor? How you been, Victor? Are you playing MCCI, Victor? MCC Hoplite? Yeah, I hope you have a good night. Whatever you sleep schedule. Hope we can practice it. Yes, dude. I think Debbie's back, right? So, or I think she's back soon. Let's practice Wednesday. Thoughts? Can you ask in the group chat if we can practice Wednesday? I haven't played MC in months, bro. You gotta come play it, dude. This Hoplite, fire server, bro. I'm sorry, dude. It's just, I'm addicted. I'm hooked. Date, what the oh, it's a border? Wait, what is this? Oh, that's... Am I tripping, or... Did anyone else see that? Anyone else just... What? Okay. Yeah, okay. I thought... Okay. Who... Who is this, bruh? Yo. My axolotl now. Yo, who is this? Who's Invis though? Wait, tripping? Yo, there has to be someone, right? Am I going crazy? Are chunks like not? Wait, huh? Wait, am I lagging? Because there's bedrock right there. And now there's an axolotl here. Okay, there's someone trolling me, right? I'm definitely getting trolled. I'm surely getting trolled right now. Right? Hi, Ellie. Welcome back. I'm getting trolled right now. And I'm scared. How long till someone just kills me? Please don't slash kill me. I love the server too much. Please. I want my stat win. Please. Okay, I think that was a staff member. I think. Could it be Invic? Who is it? Who is it? Reveal yourself now. Reveal yourself. I'll take 64 diamonds though. Okay. Slash replace near diamond ore. Hi Star, welcome back. You're right. Actually, I just had idea. What's up, Drop? I think you're hallucinating. Yeah, honestly, it might be just my dreams. It might just be me. Wait, I heard that. Yo, Lackey, by the way, you should go to VidCon, by the way, next year. Speedsilver said he's gonna come. He was talking in a Stewart's chat. He said he's going to VidCon. You should definitely come, bro. My axolotl. Should I get the axolotl? No, I don't want axolotl. I hate axolotls. Oh my god, Monkus. Okay, I think I was just getting trolled a little bit by that admin. Or, I don't know what that was. What do I even do with that? I can't, like, I 30 PvP's on. Okay, that was lag, right? Wait, I lost where I was going. Wait, that was lag, right? Huh? Wait, that was lag, right? Pay my Wi-Fi router is at W. Wait, what? I'm going insane. I'm going crazy. Yo. I'm stuck. Wait, I could just low-key make a diamond sword, just rush to 0. Or make enchants. Oh my god, there's 3 minecart chests back to back to back to back to back to back. Golden apple. Halloween candy. Yo, what does Channeling do? Oh my god, so many chests. Yeah, what does that do? Channeling. What does that do? Isn't it for Trident? I know it's for Trident, but what does it chat do? What does the enchant do? Anyone know? Okay, well, I can't rush what I wanted to rush. Maybe later I can. It's lightning. Oh, okay. Bye. But it has to rain, right? Gotcha. Thanks, guys. I'll take the first fight I see. Low key. Jeez. Oh, Giga Chat skin. Okay, cool. I need that skin. I need that head. Ooh, diamonds. 10. Huh? What? What? How? Wait, I can go down now and make enchants. Wait, let me find lava on surface. And a bunch of apples. Okay. How? What is going on? Okay, I got the apples. I'm gonna go up. Porch sold. Yeah, no, it's fine though. GG's. Should I turn my mic on so people can hear me? Bro, my dog's barking again. I gotta take her out right now. Okay, light apple. Okay. My inventory's clogged. I hate when this happens. Bam. No, don't road. Okay, go. Bam. Throw that out. Bam. Bam. Okay. I'll be. Make sure no one's gonna kill me. We're chilling. Okay. Cool. Bam. Okay. Whew. So goddamn fast now. It's slow. I'm slow. Dude, I might just buy caffeine right now. I might just buy like crazy much caffeine. Should I do a 24-hour stream? Yo, chat, should I do a 24-hour Hoplite stream? Thoughts on 24-hour Hoplite stream? Got nothing to do tomorrow. What's up, Effie? Hello. But yeah, yo, if you're having trouble getting like wins on Hoplite, don't worry. Trust me, I've been there. Literally my first time playing, I could not win a single game. Slowly but surely, you'll start like experiencing wins. Trust. Yo, Cooper, thanks to follow. I appreciate it, man. Get that feather, the leather away. I can make 2G heads actually. I'll just use that, and then there you go. And then I can make one more light. I'm pretty sure. I'll just do it later. Okay. What's up, Chaotic? Welcome to the stream. Up to you. I won't be up late tomorrow. I might just chill then. I don't know. We'll see. Because I'm full of energy. But I'm gonna buy some caffeine just so I can go on. Okay. Yeah, I also I recently found out. Oh, this guy probably got a pearl. It's fine, I can just quick him. Quick him. Who is this? LS1. Is that a touch speed skin? No, don't use a pearl. Wait. What? Oh, I see him. Don't pearl again. Please don't pearl again. Please don't pearl again. No, I need that pearl. No. No, I could have made it. I could have made it. He pearled. Is it good to make? I would suggest making enchants, rushing enchants. But don't have another pearl. Please don't have another pearl. No. He used them all. No way. Did anyone in chat know if you can get what's it called? Oh, he had GP though. Wait, what do I need? What do I need for it? I just need 2 obby. Wait. I just need 2 obby and then I need sand, right? I see someone boots though. Jeez. Thanks for follow. Appreciate it. Oh my god. Okay. Yo, cool. Cool. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the raid. How's your stream? It was good. What were you streaming? Were you also streaming some Hoplite? Sorry, I'm like full focus right now. Sweat mode, sweat mode, sweat mode. Damn, I can't make any more heads in redstone. Watch that. Look at my luck. Ready? Watch this. Watch my luck. Watch my luck, chat. Watch my luck. Hop up. Let's go. What's up? Pog is a pog. Hello. I'll take that. I won't take that. Okay, I need to get sand. I have the obby and I have the I see blue stained glass. I need lapis. Okay. Alright. Watch, please, please. I saw you in the game the other day. What's up, Dripster? Hello. I became a prisoner of war. It's really weird. Wait, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? What do you mean you became a prisoner of war? Watch, like I got you. Yeah. I gotta stop sitting crisscross applesauce in my chair, bro. What's up, Ellie the chicken? What a W name. What the? Yo, y'all are creative with your names. I wasn't creative. I just put OG in front of my name. Oh shit. It's cheap. Okay, let's make this. And then we do this. And then we do this. Then we make the nether core reactor. And then we place it. And we just pray for Enderman. Wait, no, no, no. I need you. Wait, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, stay alive. Wait, come here. Give me a pearl, please. Please give me a pearl. No! No way. Ugh. They didn't give it to me. It's fine. Let's just go to 0-0. Dude, thanks, follow. Appreciate it. XA. Actually got a idea for someone else. It's Ellie. Oh, it's Eli? Eli. Oh, Eli. What's up, Eli? Qndres, is it worth to make short sword? If you have like, okay, if you don't get 4 diamonds, I would make short sword. But if you don't have any diamonds, I would rush short sword, yes. What's up, XA? Sloth. Yep, Sloth. What's up, AK Shay? How are you, man? Welcome. Hello, Oliver. You want to fight? You want to tussle? Jeez.
Hi.
No.
Oh, dude, we got over here. Can I share some of that?
What's going on
No.
here? What's going on here?
Oh, hello.
What's up, fella? Leave anything good there? No, you didn't. That's all shit.
I'm gonna kill your dogs.
Don't you dare. Bitch. How dare you? Oh, they're going for you. They want you dead now.
All right. I'll take your dogs.
I think the dogs are the ones who went personally against you.
No, I'm good. What's up, Dub? What's up, Chowlo? MX? Hello? Why is there a forest fire? Hold on, I just got a crazy idea. I do have that. All right. I know what I'm doing. If I have enough. All right, I do have enough. You're insane. You're insane going for the dog. I'm sorry. Yeah, man. Bro, why are you bowing him, bro? That's not nice, bro.
Is it not?
It's not nice, bro. Yeah, bow me. I want to get bowed.
Okay.
Thanks. One more time.
Okay.
Wait, do it again. One more time.
Okay.
Okay. You're actually hitting your shots.
Am I?
Yep.
Not anymore.
That's right.
Lose to you, man.
Okay.
Nope.
Oh, trust me. Oh, trust me. All right.
Where'd that guy?
Yeah, go for him. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna go crazy. Wait. Oh, right there. All right, you can have the kill. Okay. W sleep schedule? True. Oh. Need some more levels. Cathedra here. Oh, are you doing good? Doing good. I'm about to win this game, hopefully. If I don't get targeted there. Yeah, thanks for following, Django. Appreciate it. No, he had a pearl.
Out of the way!
My kill. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I should make bundle arrows here. No, he had another pearl. Please have another pearl. Oh my, okay. That works. All right. I don't want you.
You want him or do you want me to get him?
I don't know where he's at. Oh, he's 1/4. I want him.
I don't think he likes me. I don't think he likes me, guys.
I want him. Juice. Oh, he hit you with 2 G heads. I still might. I need that. You redstone? I want a gamba. Okay, redstone.
Alright, you ready, brother? Wake up.
Actually, I'm not ready yet. All right, I'm ready now.
info.
How many waters do you have?
Yeah.
GG! Let's go! Finally. Let me see his gear. Prot 2. Oh, we got like Sharp 3. Okay, yeah, we're like equal gear. GG's. Oh, yes, I'm back on the leaderboards. I'm back on the leaderboards. GG's. Whew, okay, I need to hydrate after that one. How was like just a crazy fire acid book in my hot bar? That's crazy. All right, I'm 7, so I'll be right there now. I'll be at 7 or 6 or whatever. I bet. We go again. That was fun. GG Cypher, GG's. Okay, we're 1 for 1 so far. That's not too shabby. 1 game, 1 win. It was a Grimoire. Wait, what? Wait, you had Grimoire?
Μαζί μου να δεις.
Δεξί-κλικ στο πάτωμα κάνε το short.
Γιατί?
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Άλλαξε το.
What do you mean it was Grimoire? No, I didn't rush Grimoire. Dude.
Δεν έχει κι άλλα.
Okay, so basically I wanted to rush something, but it didn't work. But I can't hear it. Hold on. I killed someone that had a fire at the M. So I was like, wait. And it appeared in my hotbar. Yeah, that's it. How do you even... Qndres, go touch grass. Ah. Yeah, how do you get... You need 4 diamonds. That's all you need for... You're just basically using 4 diamonds, right? And a squid. Streamer luck, literally. Literally. My sleep schedule is messed up. I got 19 star? Jesus. Jesus.
You too.
GG's though, GG's. That guy had... Wait, how many waters do you have, Cypher? How many waters did you have? Because you kept regenning on lava. Also, yeah, I have like 20 gaps and like a whole bundle just full of candies, by the way. I'm pretty sure I wasn't dying soon. Wait, why do I know that name from somewhere? NXQW. I know that name. Hold on, let me check my coins I have. I also think I got like some levels. Or not. Wait, no, I definitely leveled up, right? No, I did level it up. Okay. 26k. What's this? 8 coal. A miner shovel. Upgraded in the level art. Wait, so what do I really get when I keep... Oh, I got a miner's helmet. Oh, it's rare though. Did you redeem the coupon? What coupon? Yeah, the B... What is it? B... Battle Royale 3? Yeah, I did. The Django? I did. Wait, what? No, I had to upgrade something. Like 20... Yeah, we'll upgrade something. I mean, speed 1. Low-key saturation do be killing me sometimes. I don't really need haste. I want to actually... Low key. Low key. It actually is mad annoying when I don't have any levels when I need them. All right, we'll just save the rest for I'm gonna try master prestige the pickaxe option now. Yeah, they really did well the server, like really good. W speed silver. Bobble, that win was for you, by the way. I even said at the beginning of the stream that win was for you. I did get my win to people. And that one was for you. This next one, it's not for you. Sorry. Oh, God damn. We gotta watch a show again. What show can we watch while we're in queue? Anyone know? Anyone watch what YouTube shows you guys watch? I'm more of like a Red and Taylor guy. Or do we even have to watch? What's up? There you go, buddy. Arf. Yo.
Oh shit. Just okay.
Lara puise.
Paano? Teka na.
Dude, I get scared of like voice chatters, bro. Like earlier today, bro, there was a racist guy, dude. Oh my God, bro. Like, no, why are you in my queue? Why are you in my queue again?
Oh, I'm playing one more and I'm going.
Yeah, that's addiction. That's the addiction. One more, and after that, one more. One more. And after that, one more again. And if you lose, you gotta go again because you can't end off on the loss.
Yeah, you got that streamer like, I had to deal with X-Rays and teamers in that game. You had nothing.
X-rayers.
Yeah, the first guy I fought with was just full diamond, all with one full iron, and it killed him.
Oh. Listen, I get the kills to me. All right.
Yeah, you got your 9. I got my 6. You got more.
Wait, how much did you get?
Only 6.
Oh.
You got your 9.
Yeah, I got 9. It would have been 10, but someone kept bowing me from the distance.
Yeah, I only had a power. If I made a better boom, I only had a power 1.
Wait, how much damage did my piercing 4 do, by the way? That's why I was using crossbar.
Piercing kind of sucks.
It does? I thought it was OP as
piercing's,
hell.
for shield. It's for shields.
It's Qndres.
It doesn't actually increase damage at all.
I made it all the way.
Oh, really?
Match and then
Yeah.
spike.
Like,
Oh, I thought dashing was like piercing was like what's it called?
Power now.
No, it's not power. Damn.
No, it's not.
Okay, so
No,
I'm just,
it shoots through the shield.
yeah, but like, why is it like different levels of piercing?
Does more
It
damage.
does
like
more
5
damage.
mobs at once.
More damage to the
Yeah.
shield.
Oh,
and
so
if you go through more mobs at once.
oh, so if it's like, oh, my bad. Okay, I didn't know that.
And it breaks the shield as well. I'm pretty sure.
It does break your shield.
At highest level, yeah. Piercing 4 has a chance to break the shield.
Oh
if you have
shit.
Shield on.
Oh damn.
But
Okay.
shields aren't in this, so there's really crossbows aren't really worth it in this since there's no shields.
Ah, I see. Yeah, bits left. Thanks to follow. Appreciate it.
My last game, my first game, and I
Go
spiked
to bed.
2,000 ping.
Stupid
It was
noob.
not fun.
Isaiah, are you going back to back? You reckon?
Ends in my
gonna go back.
last 5 games. So
Yeah, we get it. You try hard.
Have you won your past? Have you won your past 5?
oh, I haven't even played that many.
Anywho,
Wait, I'm just
Did
curious.
you-
Like, so for the 40 biomes, do the Nether biomes count too? Because I have to do 2
Yes.
more.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do. Okay, well I'm going Nether. See you guys Nether.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
No. Stay away from my fortresses, okay?
no, those are
You're
my
gonna make strength 2
fortresses.
again? Huh? Sweat?
Yep.
You're gonna make strength 2 again?
Yeah, strength 2, speed 2 again. Don't you worry.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Just drop right away. It would. Perfect. This real quick. Age of the Bulls in this game. Never mind, he left. No, it's crazy. Oh, I'm getting nobody's this guy's gonna stalk me, right? No, you're trolling. Cool. Thank you for leaving me alone. You're a W-mans. Thanks for follow East Coast Ghosts. Appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. I generally cannot play this game. Wait, why not? What's wrong? What is wrong? What is wrong? Why can't you play this game? Please, if I can just get a little bit. Any water buckets? Any water bucketers? If it's unplayable, solos is boring. It's just so quiet. Wait, do you want like? What do you mean? What you mean by that? I don't think solos is boring. I like playing solos though. What you mean? Final fight is where all the talking happens. Well, not even. Wait, what? It's quiet, huh? What you mean by that? You have a chat to talk to? True, but like, what do you like? Do you want to talk to people or what? I'm confused. In solos. Well, that's the point. Solo is supposed to be solo. You know what I mean? Also, how is Civ unplayable? What's why is it unplayable? What's the issue in solos or Civ? I mean, just VC with friends while playing solo. Yeah, you can just do that too. Oh my god, water bucket finally. I need lava, I need lava, I need lava, I need lava. I agree. Candy does make. No, I will agree with you on there. Candy is annoying because someone could just have a million candy just win last game, like final fight. They don't need any gaps. I get it. I don't know though. I don't think the servers. I don't think it's boring though. I think solos is fun. The ancient gaps to region 2. Make a suggestion. I know that you're looking at every single suggestion, so you should definitely like, you know, voice your opinion. Because, no, I agree with you, bro. I've already had a thing happen where I was getting, I was winning the game, and I just died to, just like a guy that was just chucking full line that was chucking candies. Oh fuck. I think someone's already in here. Fortress again. Actually, might be Fortress again. This is Bastion. Did it be Bastion or is it Fortress? Hey Jay, no. Alright, so it's not this corner. This. Yeah, no, you can get regen and you can get like the regen proc. You'll be back to full HP. I think it's a Bastion. Oh, it's not a Bastion Fortress again. And they got it already. God damn it. God damn, they looted all these shits fast. Okay. I'm hella late then. If they looted all these chests already. Jesus. Damn, okay. I can go back to 0-0, but okay. All. Oh.
If you're doing the exact same thing I'm doing, I swear to God.
Huh?
Do we have the same plan?
Well, I don't know.
Because I've been doing it for so many games straight.
I don't know what plan he's talking about. I have my own thing I'm doing. I like. Hold on, right there, right now. I like socializing, but Civ is just unplayable. There's no one else I play with a team. Unless you queue with friends, possibly winning a slim to none. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I won all my games so far.
I apologize for this.
Oh.
No one else did.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, they would have given you some more.
No, do you have another one?
Yeah?
Oh, you do. There's one more place for it.
Please. How do you get the hell out of here?
Okay, you're a nice guy.
Yes, East Coast, yes.
Don't worry.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I got my place. What's up?
How many buzzwords do you have?
4.
Bro, you want to hand one over? I'll trade you some gold. I should have broken the spawner. Fuck me.
All right. All right. 2 diamonds. This is my portal. I see 2 diamonds, please. 2 diamonds, please. Yeah, the plan is end a pearl here. I don't know how I got the pearl first try, but I got it. Surely I'm not getting stream snipe, right? Surely no one's exposed it in chat. Alright, let's get making enchants. I just need 2 diamonds though. Let's get away from this guy. Will this guy be him? Two diamonds. Yo, X-Tune, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. What's up? What's up, X-Tune? Hello? I'm currently playing Hoplite. You should definitely come play. Good server, good server, good server. Join up. Dude, it's so fun. I'm about to rush the current thing right now I have planned. If I can find what I need. The last 2 things I need. Well, the last thing I need, actually. But I think this cave is fully looted. Maybe? Not 100%. I think it's 100% looted. It's a fork fox. Hello. Shep, yo. What's up, Shep? Dude, I might come onto no life and can get some content out of it. W. Hell yeah. YouTube videos. W. This is mad fun. Especially if you know how to PvP in this version already. Makes it a little bit easier. I just need to find what I need, bro. I need 2 things. Well, 2 of the same thing. But I gotta find the cave. Honestly, I don't care if I mine all game. I just need 2 of them. How close are you to 100k? 30k? Like 50 off, I think. 50, I believe. Yo, Krishna, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Drink water, I got you. Or do I go up and just like risk it? Risk someone has 2 diamonds for me. I don't know. Or I can just play until I find 2 diamonds. Is there a shop for custom crafts? No, every craft is unlockable. Every craft is just unlocked. What's up, Krishna? Are you also on Hoplite, Krishna? You're about to see me hopefully do very good this game. I hope. I think this is, yeah, this is definitely allowed, right? Risk it and also get a sword? Yeah, fuck. You know what? You know what? Might have to just risk it. Okay. I'll just craft that. Okay, I'm gonna see this cave real quick. Come on. Oh! Okay, please, please, please. Please, 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 please. Please, 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 please. No! No, I need one more. Surely, right? Surely. Surely. Come on. Surely you give me one more. Surely. Come on. No way. I'm really one off. Are you freaking kidding me right now? The Canada's so OP. Yeah, they're busted. I think they just got to remove the regen. And one more. I think speed. No, speed's fine because we can just get away from situations. Oh, bro, that's fine. It's fine. Okay, we can get one kill. That's all I need. Just one kill. One kill, and then I'll go crazy, bro. Come on, just. I mean, the first kill needs to have it. And if he doesn't have it, might be a GG's. How do you use P-chat in game? I don't know, actually. Fiend. I think I see dashing. Oh my god, please have one diamond. Please. Wait, come here. No. Don't stop running 0-0. GG's. Wait, this could be GG's. Oh my god. Please. Yo, Rin. Thanks for the follow, Rin. Hi, Rin. Oh my god. Please. How are you, Rin? I am currently playing Hoplite and I'm addicted. Oh my god, okay. Okay. Oh my god. Jihad? What is yawn? He's trying to get out, but oh my god, nice kill, doing good. Good. We gotta get a team going for the we need one more person, right, for the live steal. I don't know when they're gonna do it actually, but we do need one person. Well, cool. Where did I kill him? Shit. Okay. I think it's team of 5. I think it's team of 5. Wait, Rin, have you played Hoplite? I am. Oh my god, I'm mad addicted to this game mode. I got really lucky. Oh my god. Come on, dashing, follow me. Yeah, they changed it back. I think for next season, I think it's will be team of 5. Dashing. Fight me. Come on, let's fight. Let's fight.
Oh, I didn't even know you were behind me. Oh, Jesus. Okay. You don't want to I have 2 G heads. You don't want to fight this. Trust
I
me.
do want to fight you.
You do?
Yep. Uh-oh.
You're not even low. Why are you running?
Because
We're not even getting cleaned. Okay, now I understand a bit why. No, you're not crafting anything.
I already did. I got what I needed.
Fuck. What was that?
You'll see right now.
Oh, actually, I'm interested in what's going on over there instead.
Yeah, same here.
There's a very yeah. We'll play split.
Lean, what's up, Lean? Okay. Come on. Box check goes crazy. I know. They can hear what I'm saying right now. Haha. This is busted. This is busted. Just say leg day on 0. Yo, W. Leg day. Ugh. Domination. Sharp. Oh, you want a sharp 3 book? Neil's gonna pick that up next. Well, he dropped with healing. Okay. Okay. Hey, redstone? I don't think you had a redstone, huh? I did book though.
Fight now? Would you like to fight? You were not having fun down there, were you?
No. I don't want to fight now.
I've fallen into a trap of one of those before. With powdered snow is not fun. What is that? What is that? The ender bar?
All right, cool. This is a Bobless pack.
I'll stop chasing you if you let me have the loot. Let me have the loot. I'm looking for something in particular. Thank you.
All right, well, I'm just gonna target you at deathmatch. Sorry. Let me just get to full real quick. Okay. That's all good. All I need is to do this real quick. Okay, bet. I mean, I could just heal off of that. Okay. Yeah, yep. All right, let's ready to fight. You still want to fight or what? Come on now. Come on now. You want to fight, right?
No, let me get my horse. I
No,
want
I'm
my
good.
horse.
No, I'm good.
I want my horse.
No, I'm good. We can fight now. You wanted to fight, right? Let's get it. Let's get it then.
No thank you. No thank you.
OP stasis? Yeah, that's what this bow's for. Come on, come on.
Don't fall in the ravine.
Ooh, I did not fall. We're gonna fight or what?
Let me just bring you away so we don't get cleaned by like 100 different people. Because I already know what
For
happens
real,
as soon
for
as we
real.
start the fight.
All right, we're good now.
Alright.
Yeah, this was kind of busted. I'm not gonna lie. If you know how to use it. I got 1v2 because that boat. Yeah, it's OP. This boat is actually like nuts, bro. It's already been like suggested to nerf it, but I mean I can use it for the meantime. April, so I can still get 10 kills. Watch. Hi Souls, you have an addiction? I do. And then you just do that, and you're literally back to 0-0. Oh, I mean, if I went the wrong direction. It's this way. What did you just eat? 26. All right. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, the thing is though with this bow is like you can barely get it some games. I just gotta keep doing it until. Is that a person I saw right there? Or am I tripping? Might be tripping. Well, that's not good. Okay, Cypher. How did you find me back here, by the way? That's kind of okay. You just randomly found me, huh? Okay, Cypher. That's kind of random. Just so happened that I was here at -161, -400, Cypher. Okay. I don't think so, Rin. I can't see anything. Yo, Shainted and Cap, thanks to follow. I appreciate it, guys. Come here, Cypher. Oh, you pots. All right. Huh. Okay. Well, I might be screwed because I don't know, actually. There's a flame now. It's not really good. Is that redstone? I have like no redstone. It's fine. I know what I do. I know what I do. How do you get cobweb in this version? What do you mean? Oh, you need shears. No. All right, I'm fighting you for sure. Deathmatch. Wait, what if I just thought of something. See 3 kills. Okay. No, I can't shift when I do that. Okay, perfect. Wait, you have a fire as well? Yeah, I don't know about all that, Cypher. And you have strength pots?
What to do with 3 diamonds? Oh, run!
Oh, Nico!
That's Qndres! Oh, I got him! Oh no.
I'm dying, shit.
No, Cypher, no.
Ah,
No, Cypher.
Qndres, it's you!
No, it's not me.
Yes, it's you!
bro, you just killed my brother. Yeah, I'm just killing him. Can you even die?
Give me, come on, give me what I need.
What the f- You get stuck on the ground?
No,
The enemy is so weird.
it is.
I don't know how it works. Like, I don't know.
Wait a second. All I need is like... I don't think I can find it though. There's no way. These guys are not gonna like me if whoever wins this here. Wait, I need these kills.
This guy wants me so bad. I don't know why. So annoying. Ruh-roh.
Nice kills, thanks. I need apples. I can make them apples though. Oh, I didn't know that. Wee. Oh, you picked my armor up. What the heck?
Yeah, I needed that, bro. Nobody had shit this game.
Yo, what is that sword, bro?
Sharp 2, actually. I don't have a good sword.
By the way, I'm gonna play it mad annoying. Just FYI.
That's fair enough. I missed that.
Okay.
You're on 39? This guy has full pro 4.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know the strat. He doesn't know the strat.
Yeah, I'm clearly missing something. I don't know what. We're doing a VOD review after.
GG, 10 kill game. Back to back, baby. Sheesh. GG's. 2 for 2, 2 for 2. Yo, this bow is busted, bro. Yo. This bow is busted. Oh my god, GG's. That was actually bad fun, bro. The moment I got that pearl, oh my god. I knew I was just like, it's just an instant win with that pearl. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, dude. What is that? 4th place, 8 wins. Damn, okay. Okay. We go again. Oh my god, Cypher, that's crazy. That's ready, by the way. Yeah, use shears for cobwebs. That's how you get it. Lean. How do you get, dude? Lean, you're crazy, bro. How do you just like? Oh, there's this guy that's racist right here.
Yo, hey man.
Yeah, I ain't gonna risk it. Why don't you black horse? There's no need to. I can't win, GG. Yeah, there's this one of this guy's, either this guy's weird or one of them's weird. I gotta report them. I don't know who it is though. I heard at the corner of my eye, or my corner of my ear. I just heard him say like some crazy slur. No, Cypher, no. Dude, go to Hoplite Discord. Go to, I think, suggestions and look at Brooking suggestion. She made a report already. It's kind of a busted bell if you get it. Insane, bro. It's crazy. Does that book? But no, it does not give HP. No. The moment I get it in that, dude, I'm rushing every game. I'm rushing every game. Is there an admin on the server? I hope there is. I wanted to like, I forgot who it was, bro. Can I go back? I can't go back. Someone's like a crazy slur, and I hope it. I know I caught it, but I hope they get banned. No. What's up, bro?
Bro, I'm a big fan, man.
Nice.
I watched your manhunt. I just watched your video like 10 minutes ago. I was like, no way.
Yeah. Well, what was it? What was the twist?
Like, I'm gonna show you.
Huh?
It was a Minecraft manhunt, but balls are OP remods.
Oh, balls are appearing. W. Yeah, that's a W video.
Yeah, that's nice.
You
That's
like
very
it?
good.
You liking Hoplite? Huh?
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part about Hoplite?
About your
Good night,
play?
Cypher. Huh?
I don't understand very good.
I said,
English.
what's your favorite part about Hoplite right now?
Oh, I don't know. I just joined this server like
Today?
I don't know. I joined the server yesterday.
I see. W.
Yes. Yeah, that's a W.
Can I participate in the interview?
Yeah. Sit right there.
Okay.
So
I mean, I was looking for PvP servers and I just went here and I just
what is your skin?
kills.
Why are you a zoomed in Steve with the cat made outfit on?
Okay,
That's good.
it's a long story.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Vampire.
There, thank you. There you go. Say again.
Okay, so I'm part of this SMP, right?
Hmm.
And I have been for like what, 3 years now, and like a couple months after I joined, I may have gotten myself into like a thing where we built a maid cafe, and
Oh.
I had to get a skin to match that.
Uh-huh.
I had the man, get the fuck out of here.
It's fine, it's fine.
And
It's fine. No.
okay, so I had the white Steve at that point, but then
Uh-huh.
the person who I was building the cafe with, they made me the maid skin, and I just kept it ever since.
But that doesn't explain the zoomed in Steve skin.
That's true.
No comment?
Okay, you see,
No.
my 13-year-old self thought it would be funny, and I just haven't changed it ever since. All right.
I mean, okay, that's valid. All right, who's next?
What's your skin?
Me.
I can't take it off. I'm a clown. I'm gray.
Damn.
That's all I am. Just a gray blob.
I like it.
Is
I
that like
don't.
a metaphor for something?
It turns me on.
No, I'm just a gray
Turns me on,
blob.
bro. It turns me on.
Okay, you're so weird, bro. Okay, okay. Wow. Minecraft Be Weird Challenge. Wow. All right, hopefully I can get it again this game. Ooh, the desert could have it. All right.
Okay,
bro.
just follow him.
Nah, bro, we're just here to help you out. I don't care
Yeah.
even if I die.
I wouldn't. Don't. You guys should not do
Nah, bro,
this.
we're your slaves now.
No. Okay. Well.
We are your
Yeah,
slaves.
no, take some wood.
All right. Well. Okay. First win. W. All right. Yeah. Wait. It was both of them actually. I think one of them. Said a slur. Oh my god. Okay, we're chilling. I reported him. Give me iron. Cypher, if you're still here, Cypher, you should watch what I rush, by the way. You should watch why I rush it. Somebody dropped out a sharp 5 diamond? What the fuck? Wait, W. Wait, I need you. Frick. Okay, come on. Okay. Okay, do that. Do that. I had short sword. Wait, you dropped. Yeah, it's short sword and you dropped the full dime, or you got the sharp 5. Insane. Nice. How many can I craft? How many of those can I craft? 2 for 2. Not bad, right? 2 for 2 is not bad. Okay. Get this. Flint. Nice. How do you even drop someone with a... Wait, what? Was he like bad or what? How did he... What? Please give me 2 diamonds on the way down. Got a horse? Oh. Okay. Dude, this is mad fun, bro. I literally hope everyone keeps playing this server. It might be Bastion. It's been like a horrible biome. It's a fortress again. It's fine. Like 2K people on the point. Yeah, I know. I saw, bro. W server. How many wins do you have so far? I mean, actually, you just said you got your first win, huh? Might play some Civ if I get some friends on. Did I get like a Paxo one later on today? Okay. Come on, I need you to drop it. Unless. It got cut off. Yo, Benny, what's up? Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Spawn? Alright, cool. I don't think it... I think it got cut off, maybe? You killed it your first game? With who, this Silver? W Silver, I guess. Dubs. Hey man, how the game's going? Wait, how... They're going amazing. I won back-to-back already. They are fire. Hopefully I can get my 3rd win here. Is the chest room? Wait, is there no nether ward again? I think there's no nether ward again. It got cut off. No, right? Wait, what? I'm so confused. What are you rushing? Ender bow. If I can get it. If I can get it. I just need... I mean, last game I got really lucky, but I don't think I'm gonna get lucky this game. Yeah, this game, not looking too lucky right now. Not looking very lucky. I ain't seeing anything I can do it with. Yeah. Look, sadly, this is a... Unless... Back out. Welcome back, Ellie. Welcome back. By the way, guys, join my Discord. I'm probably gonna be live this whole week playing Hoplite, so I don't lose my streak. Is that a bastion? What is that? I swear I saw something. No. Oh, wait. Unless... Please spawn. No, not skeleton. I don't think they spawned in this biome. Chat, where do piglins spawn? Anyone know? I thought they spawned in, like, anywhere nether. Lucky Mix. Hi, Lucky. I love you, Lucky. Dude, low-key, I'm thinking right now. Not really. I messed up my sleep schedule already. I had fixed it, and I just stayed up again. Bro, I don't think I'm gonna find it. I'm basically trying to trade for something right now. If not, then it's all right. You don't know how to like remove that fog? Is it like nether fog, I guess? Yeah, Lucky, I'm gonna be grinding streaming, bro, for the next like month. So I can get partner, bro. Does Optifine do that? I think it does, but they don't have Optifine here on the mod pack that I used. Also, yesterday, really weird that my YouTube stuff got taken down. It was because I was listening to music. I was listening to Travis Scott and it got taken down. GG's, I guess. Damn, I can't rush it. It's crazy. Where'd I come up from? I wanted a piece of Frito. Can you please go to Travis Scott concert, bro? Please. Okay, now I'm out of food. And I don't know where my portal's at. Damn it. This is bad. Trunk. No, I don't know where my portal's at. I hear gas though. Hold up, I hear gas. Did you check management? I did not. Wait, what did it say? Fill me in. Tell me if you stood. Did you ask Shady and Cash? No, no. Bro, where did I put my portal at, by the way? What the fuck? I'm so dumb for not remembering these coordinates. I should just write them in chat. Oh wait, Benny, you're W. Hold up. Benny, if you're right, I will. I don't know what I'll do. Go crazy. Actual court. Wait. Wait, no way. No way Benny is about to come in clutch. Wait. Wait. $67. This guy go really bad or really good? Wait. Oh. Wait, this could be really bad for me. You chasing me? This could be really bad. He's chasing me. Oh, fuck. I'm naked. I just lost the TM because I was solo. Wait, were you in Civ? Literally full iron speed on here. Rambo said he'll pull up and Trevor was like, oh shit, if you're going, I'm going. Oh, then if they were going, I'm going. Wait, really? Wait, bet. Let's do it then. Wait, so I can, wait, when is it? December? Wait, 8 gaps. You got bow spammed? Bruh. Bow spammers. SMH. Okay, I got a speedrun. Oh no. I got a speedrun full iron. I appreciate that though, Benny. Appreciate it, man. W mans. Bet. Reserve the day. I got you. Wait, but Mexico plays on 19th. Bet. It's fine. I'll go. You're the goat, bro. You're the goat, Benny. I owe you. Okay. And said he's. Oh, then okay. So now it's like basically now it's all on AJ. Bet. All right, so it's 100% gonna. I see you, brother. All right, I have an idea. GG's. 13 diamonds. Streamer luck. This is where you guys say streamer luck. Oh my god. Called it. Yep. Oh, that. Okay, now I see why people think everyone's X-ray now. Cause Jesus. Let me just go and get a. I hope I don't get stream sniped. I have no chords blocker, but I mean, I'm asking for it at this point. It's fine though. A lapis? I don't have a lapis. Infinite water though. I thought this guy had an hobby. I think I make a chest plate here. What was what? Like, did bro know he have Savorton? Are you enjoying Hoplite Fortin? Like, bro, we just gotta go to the Travis Scott concert. I know Bubba said he was down to go. Bro, we can literally get another. Oh my god, bro. Dude, lucky. I'm fucking happy now, bro. We can literally all go to the Travis Scott concert. And Bubba can come too. He said he's down. Yeah, actually just made my fucking day. Wait, can I make? It's fine. I can make. Just eat this real quick. Ah, it's fine. I've seen one book. What's up, Meg? How are you, man? Hello? Swear that's like all you say, huh? Hi, and then the little dog emoji. Simply. Hi, Simply. Big fan, Simply. Simply, they finally called me into work. They're like, oh, we're kind of needing help now. Halloween's gonna be very heavy for us. I was like, fine, I'll come in. So I work Thursday. We'll watch this out and then go to sleep. I bet. Oh. I should have made chest plate. I should have made chest plate 100% now. Oh my god, what is that? What is that noise? 14 gold, 7 diamonds. Wait, why is he running from me? The pink panther. Oh my god. Where'd he go? Wait, bro, just like loose swoop and left. I see him. Come on, fight me. See leather. I come back with leather right now. Cyberman. Wait, bro's on 47. I'm on 42. All right, this could be good. Crunch. What's his name? Missed a hit. It's string. I'll go back for that kill over here. Sec chat, one sec chat, one sec chat. Wait, did Bro get my head in Ares blessing it? Who's up there? Wait. I can't tell if Bro's still up there. I think he is still up there. Wait, huh? He killed someone up here. What? Wait, did Bro kill someone up here? Amplified is on 29. There's a head on him. Come on, let's fight. Are you winning, son? Yeah, I've won 2 back-to-back already. This kid just ate candy on me. He had swiftness. Oof. Oh, I got him healing. Okay, let me just back up real quick. He's eating more healing on me. Ooh, okay. Gotta back up from this. I can make healing. I can make a light still. Gonna chase me, I think, for a little bit. I can make a gap. That will make me sort of high. He definitely has a sharp 3 or like something sharp. His chestplate's unenchanted. Yeah, he definitely found a book. Wait, I don't have my hoe on me. Okay. I probably back up and make enchants. I don't know why I'm over here just like running around. But your surprises are whack. I know. Does it just say anything? I think it just does, right? We just died. Wait, he has an emerald sword. What? Well, what does an emerald sword do? Is the emerald sword busted? Yo, what is it like? I don't think these trees drop apples. Oh god, okay. This is actually bad. I thought it was OP if people know how to use it. Can make like another 2 apples. Yeah, there we go. Okay, make enchants now. I have leather. Who'd killed him? CH. Okay, oh my, he's still on high. Jesus. What the bro just say? Give your best ites. Alright, bro. I got no lapis. Fuck. Oh my god, what do I do in this situation? I got no lapis. It's fine. We fight. We fight until we get lapis. Got healing off kill. Oh yeah, that's forgot the thing too. I don't think this is winnable. Yeah, I don't know about this one, chat. I don't know about this one. You need a stack of armor for it to be good. Oh, well, I mean, that's easy to get, though. If you just get a village next to you, get a bunch of sticks. What if it is winnable, though? Simply, you know what? You're actually right about this one, Simply. You're really good. To be honest, hell no. There's people that are 10 times better than me. Like Arrow, I'm pretty sure is like just crazy at this game. Why is there a horse with just a saddle on it for me? I have a feeling that they want to go fight somewhere. Oh. Actual streamer luck. Yo, is that streamer luck? What? Oh. Oh my god. Hold up. We're gonna cook in a bit. Okay, okay, okay. Do that. Any levels, but it's easy to get. Do bro have candy? Can I just eat the candy to heal at the full? I just realized. Um. Why is it so bad? Damn. Where's the candy at? Oh, candy. Bro just had a gap on him? Did I pick that up? Okay. No, I don't like webs. I don't know, I'm weird. I ain't a web guy. I think Arrow's just like full diamond watch. There's just no way he's not full diamond. Vamp seat. All right, let's see. Let's see. Is Bizarre recipe still going? I think it is. Yeah. Thanks, I follow. I just put on breaky on it. I swear I thought I heard him have the bow. Going crazy. No, he's Ares blessing. It's crazy. What? Okay. This isn't good. GG's. I have no healing. GG's. He had 11 kills and he was full iron? What? That's crazy. I have... How much healing do you have? He had that much kills. Jesus. He like... Damn. Ares Blessing is OP though. 11 kill game for him? Not too shabby for him. Let's play teams. Wait, I'm down. Wait, who do you have though as a third advanced? What was the worst game? I had 11 kills, full iron. How much healing did you have though? I had like no healing at the end there. I killed like 3 guys at the end with 0 healing. You also like you Ares Blessing, huh? That's how you got the 50. Yeah, I just hadn't. Yeah, GG's. I had like 2 gaps and 1 G head. One regular head going into that DM. You know what I mean? Now get a third fence. It is not fun with only 2 people. Get a third fence. Get a third. Let me see if I can find someone. All right, fans, let's play then. Just call me. Vance, call me. Brian. Yo. Yo.
Oh my god. What are
Wh-
the chances?
What?
I was just calling Babu and he didn't pick up this whole time. The second I accept my call with you, he calls
Bro,
me
freaking Bob, bro, freaking Bob, what a freaking. Was he actually, no, he does not have PC yet, huh?
No, bro. It's been like 3 weeks since he hasn't had a PC.
It's been like a week.
Nah, it's been longer.
Rush power 4. Wait, how do you rush power 4, Arrow? What? Do you just like, oh, that's, oh, damn. And yeah, we need a third that knows. Yeah, how many games have you played?
Party invite. How many games have I played?
Yeah.
How do I check that?
On the, I mean, just off of like base knowledge.
I only have a 1 win, but it
Oh.
was like a very clutch win. I had no heals. There was a team of 3 still, and I killed them all.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I'm on leaderboards.
Dude, you're a little sweaty man.
Yeah, I got 8. I got 8 wins, and then
I
I'm
think
on.
Yesterday at night, I played like four games.
Oh, damn.
It lasted from like 4 a.m. to 8.
26 on there. Wait, wait, I'm a 20 star. I'm still a 20 star. Wait, I just got 20 star. Damn. Okay, let's just play.
Okay.
Okay, so basically the goal for us, let me actually, well, I mean, people probably, you know, we want to rush, something called the Ender Bow. We're just gonna rush Nether, pretty much. Just rush Nether. Do you know how to loot bastions?
Alright. Sort of.
Okay. We'll both go then, Nether. It's like a guaranteed win if you get all the gold, is infinite gold. Oh, this is a Rack Crab skin. Dude's barely audio. Wait, hold on. Oh, man, fans, talk.
Hello. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
just talking quietly.
Yeah. There you go. There, talk. Yeah, you're just talking quietly. Stop being a bitch and talk normally.
My bad.
Yo, Qndres, hello the music. Thank you, Brian. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna mute. Does E-Rank work on the server? I don't know. Haven't tried it. I don't think so. Wait a second. Wait, where's my guy? Where's my music guy? There he is. Drop that shit.
I probably jerk off to
This is the music right here. This is the real music.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm fans, and I'm ugly.
It's a little gamer. Little gamer.
Hit that shit.
Oh fucking wait, no, it's Francis. No, it's an actual PvPer. I'm destroyed already. Even if I have a god stat team and half diamond,
This is the concept I'm
with a
looking for.
full
For
diamond
real.
person, nothing can stand up to Francis. He'll kill us. Bro, there's 2 YouTubers in this lobby. If I don't land into the lobby of Francis, either way I die.
Fantis.
Francis, can I get an autograph?
Use miner. Can you go looter though?
Alright. Looter?
Yeah, because you're gonna loot all the bastion chests and you'll get better luck.
Okay.
W first, W song.
Qndres, I'm back.
Can I get your autograph?
I am back for you.
MC at 3 a.m. Yeah, this is what it is. This is what it results to.
Okay, you tell me when to jump.
Alright, just jump right away. We gotta rush another. Yep. Get to trees. Go right. Yeah. Well, we want to rush that. Yeah, I see it. I'm gonna get this iron from the iron golem and just go down. Actually, no. I'm just gonna get trees and go down.
I don't know where you're at, my little man. I just went to this house.
I'm in
right
the
here.
village. I'm in the village. I'm in the village right now.
What village?
The village to the
I'm
right.
gonna have to track you.
Yeah, just track me.
How'd you end up there? Yeah, alright. Okay.
GG's the arrow. GG's, bro. I'm just.
They just made a joke, a bad joke.
Who?
They just made a joke, and it's about me.
Oh, why I muted?
They made a joke about fast food employees.
Oh no.
I didn't really enjoy that one.
Why, Bablu? Why? Yeah, Bablu. Why have you not been uploading, bro? What's with the slack, brother? Can you like?
You gotta stop slacking off, bro.
Yeah, Bablu. I'm like your manager, and you should probably start uploading soon. Bablu, get a PC. Exactly, AJ. What's up, Jeff? Hello, Jeff. What's up, Snow? Honestly, no. W Drake, bro. I love Drake.
Dude.
What?
You know Drake is
Tell
not
me.
a real human.
Wait, really? Is he an AI the whole time?
No, not just that.
Tell me.
He's an alien.
Wait, what?
He's not an AI.
Wait, you're telling me that
AIs don't do
Drake, the
the
guy,
things he
isn't
does.
rapper? He's an
Drake the
alien.
guy is not the rapper. Jake the rapper is though.
Oh, okay. I thought Jake was not a rapper.
No, Jake from State Farm isn't, but Jake the rapper is.
Yo, what is going on with my head right now?
Yeah, I've been taking a lot of drugs recently.
Okay. Hey, thanks to follow. Appreciate it.
It helps with the pain medicine. The headache.
I'm gonna order like a crazy amount of caffeine in a bit.
Why? You have to
Huh?
sleep.
No.
Dude.
All right, I'm down already. Can you bring Flint?
Can I bring Flint? Well, of course I can. Just give me one little second to prepare
Alright.
myself. How are you so quick? I don't get it.
What do you mean?
How are you so quick to prepare for everything?
I don't know.
I barely have stone tools.
All right, I'm waiting for you.
Flint?
Yeah, Flint. I just need Flint.
Shoot. Oh, okay. I see gravel.
You got one?
Yeah, Oh, yeah, I got one.
All right, hurry up and come. Have you ever heard of Minecraft Skygen? No. You see me?
I think so.
I got Flint already.
You're really low.
Wait, I'm low. Can you hear me now? Hello, hello.
Oh no, I meant you're low.
I know. I'm so silly.
Dude, you're so slow.
All right, I'm another.
What?
All right, looking for the bastion.
went.
I'm actually gonna find out if. Hold on.
Bro, I don't even know you went.
This is a portal. Those are the portal cords. I'm looking for the bastion right now. Someone's already. No, it's 0-0.
Oh god. You're too quick.
Go the opposite direction. If you see a fortress, it's fine. What does Enderbro do? It's crazy. Oh my god, Colin's in this game. Okay.
I can't
Oh
find the
wait.
portal.
You can't?
I don't know where you went.
It's fine, I guess. I probably should have sent cords.
I think you went down here though. Let me go check.
All right, well, it's not this corner.
Oh, found it.
Nice. But the moment we get this bow, bro, it's just GG's.
I don't know what direction. Oh, okay. I'll go opposite direction. Okay, I see another portal. It's right here.
Yeah, that's the 0-0 one. That's like the one that's always spawns.
Oh. Yeah, it's unlit.
Thanks, follow Sukul. Hello. How do you level so fast? Winning. Going deathmatch. Make sure you go to deathmatch every game. It might be. Well, I don't find it. I can't see it.
Oh, I see a bastion. I'm out of bastion.
You do? What
Yeah.
direction?
Oh my god.
What's your quarter chords?
North, -45, -70.
-45, -70?
Yeah.
Goddamn, okay.
It's honestly pretty close. Oh, this is the bad bastion. I don't even know what they're called, but it has like the what are they freaking called?
Could it be treasure?
It's like they have like a lot of hoglins, and there's no treasure in the middle.
Wait,
like,
negative
just,
40
like,
what?
Negative 40, negative 100. You'll see me whenever
Jesus.
I start flowing.
Okay.
So what am I trying to look for?
Just get the gold. Do with the chest. Do you know where the gold's at?
I don't have an iron pick.
I just found ancient debris. I mean, wait, what is your Z at? Sorry, your Y.
72.
Got it. Yo, John, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Oh, you're glowing.
Pickaxes. Who gave this to me?
You gotta loot it fast, fence. Someone coming ready.
Okay. I'm trying.
I'm going down. I'm going for the bottom chest.
Okay. Oh my god, there's a lot of chests in this one.
Might just trade for wait, I think it's bad. Let's see.
Okay, I got I
It's
have
bad gap.
2 blocks of gold.
Okay.
That's it in the chest.
Oh, it was bad gap. Oh my god. Wait, they're both bad gaps. Did you do all the top chests already?
Yeah. There's like 6 chests I looted.
Okay.
Also,
What'd
I got an efficiency 5 pick.
Diamond?
Diamond pick. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, this is just bad gap. Damn. They're both bad gap. I forgot how you loot this one.
Does this ever happen to you? Like my game just randomly just freezes. Like
Yeah, it does. I don't know why it's been happening to me.
do I drop them gold?
Yeah. Don't die. Careful. I'm trying to trade for an ender pearl.
Drop the gold.
I'm gonna trade. How much gold do you have? Careful. Oh my god.
I got withering.
What are you on?
I dropped them the gold.
Oh my god.
Someone-
Bro. Okay, I got a pearl. This guy's dying though. This guy's gonna die.
Please die.
Careful. Someone died. Careful, it's fence. Oh, you have gold armor. Put it in the hole.
So stupid.
Wait, you're fine on health. You can regen. Don't worry. At the end.
Hey, this cat guy needs to perish.
Yeah. Yo, Tom, thanks for appreciate it. What is happening?
Wait, can I bed bomb them right now?
Trading? No, you can't. It doesn't work. Like it's nerfed. Alright. Got a bunch of arrows.
They're trying to come through here. No, you're not sneaky, bro. Pro. Nah.
Bro, like, why am I getting... Like, this guy was literally stream sniping me earlier, too. Okay, I didn't drop all the gold.
He's back in the
Sure.
hole. You just picked it up again.
Alright, well, the kid's weird as hell. How much did you have?
I have 6 obby.
Okay, let's get out. We're good.
I also have 2 ancient debris.
Okay, I have 1. You need 4, right?
Yeah, to make.
It's fine. All we need now is just 2 diamonds.
I wish you can smelt diamonds, like tools, and get diamonds.
I know, right? Bro's cringe, dude. I'll play as a Minecraft server. Yeah. You can party on Hoplite, yes. That guy's literally like, okay, whatever, it's fine. Wait, negative 30. We're in the wrong direction. Wait, wait, where's the portal fence? Do you know?
Negative 30 is this direction,
And
and then 19 is that way. So I think. Oh, it's up. It's up there.
okay. Yeah, Hoplite.gg is a server. Lol, dude, that guy was the weird one, bro. Oh my god, dude. Actual weird. How much gold do you have on your fence?
I only have 58 nuggets.
Oh.
Yeah, I dropped all
Son.
my gold to the big one.
All right, we just gotta kill that person now. Is that right there? Yeah, right. Wait.
Yeah, this is it. I think.
All right, let's get out.
Wait, no, it's the one further. Oh wait, no, it's
No, it's this one. This one. Just said I play solo. Play solo. If you don't. Solo. All right, let's just find like 4 diamonds we can enchant in. I see shuriken, but we can go up later. Or actually, yeah, let me just hopefully find like 2 diamonds so I can make the ender bow.
Okay.
Well, I need a blaze powder.
Damn.
But we can. If, you don't have any chance of gunpowder, do you? Or gunpowder, do you?
I dropped it off whenever I was looting the things.
Oh fuck.
I didn't think we needed it.
No, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. If you see a creeper, just kill it, please.
Okay.
Wait, just go mining. Just get like yourself full iron and stuff.
I already have full iron.
Oh, you do? Okay. Just look for diamonds then.
Of iron from the thing.
Oh wait, pass me some iron then.
Here.
Perfect. Can I get some like 1 more? Like not 2 more, but like 2 more, so I can make an iron sword.
Iron?
Yeah,
I
iron.
don't have any more. That's all I gave. That's like all I had. I mean.
Okay. Just need to look for diamonds then. Bruh, no diamonds here.
Oh, there's cobwebs up here. Maybe we got.
Go for it, yep. I can't do cobwebs. I suck at cobweb PvP. It's just you and fenced? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need anybody else.
I mean, we would. We do, but it's fine.
Nah, we don't. We don't. Don't worry. You could take 1v8s. It's whatever.
I mean, you're right about that.
8 guys in a room, and you can take them all. No problem.
We win. We win. Just win. Just win. Just win. Are you serious right now? No diamonds? Anyone got enchant table? Question mark. I don't think our teammates. Maybe actually one of them does. One of our teammates has a notch skin. Are we gonna think he's good or not?
I think he's pretty good.
I see. Am I tripping?
The notch skin? Wait, what? What?
No, I'm
teammate
tripping.
has notch skin?
I'm tripping. I'm tripping.
Dude, why are you tripping, dude? Really?
I am
Is
tripping.
this a good time to be tripping?
No.
Exactly. Get your act together, please.
Sorry. My fault, fenced.
Yeah. Okay, I got some string. We can make a bow now. Is an archer bow better than a short bow?
No. Archer, but wait a second. Never mind. What'd you say?
Is archer bow better than short bow?
Archer bow is just unbreaking one.
Oh.
I think. I haven't ever gotten that kit yet.
Oh, it's a kit. Okay.
Hmm. Oh, I see the guy. I see one of the guys that was X-raying down here.
How do you know they're acting?
Well, I mean, he got banned.
Oh.
But no, wait. Oh my god, he was literally... Okay. He has diamonds in his inventory. In his hand. I go vote offense.
I do farming.
Offense because we're about to
Fucking
rush. Gonna get kills. Wait, vote me king. Vote me king.
Dude, they're gonna vote me. You know that, right?
Oops.
Like, it's pretty obvious
Wait.
they're gonna vote me.
Vote me king before this guy gets it. Quick. Oh my god. Oh my god. Fans, vote me, vote me, vote me, vote me, fans, vote me, fans.
I did.
Vote me. Wait, I've won 7 games in a row.
Dude.
Oh
hey,
damn.
let's make it A, bro. Like, jeez.
Look at that. Oh no, I swear. If I don't get it. I actually might not get it. Oh my god.
You got it.
Not me. What? No way this guy was X-raying. Full X-ray, bro.
Okay, I found a really big cave. I'm praying for some diamonds here.
How much diamonds does this guy have? Bro had 64 diamonds. Advanced?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Wait, you got the diamonds?
Yes, I got the diamonds. He had 64 diamonds on him.
Bro, oh my god, we're making full diamond armor now.
Bro, why do you X-ray?
Look me up.
Why are you weird and X-ray?
And also, why do you X-ray for that much diamonds?
Yeah, wait, why do you...
If you were to X-ray, they wouldn't even. They're not even trying to be discreet or anything. They're getting
Yeah,
2 stacks.
like, you want to get banned. Yo, C-Temp, do you see this, bro? Alright, we just gotta get Shuriken. We're full diamond, just going 0-0.
Okay, I think I see you. Okay, I'm just gonna go up to the surface.
Okay.
I don't know how I have 4 golden apples. What the hell?
I have 2. Alright, coming up. Just go to surface. I have the obby for it. I actually don't have the obby for enchants yet. Yes, I do, actually. I'm stupid.
Oh, do you have lapis, though?
I do.
Okay.
You going for a legendary weapon? I can't. I say I have gunpowder, but... I need food. Yo, Janos, man. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. You playing that party? Yeah, I am.
He's playing with someone really cool, so.
I'm playing with some kid named Vance.
I'm not a kid. I'm an
Oh.
adult.
Some man named Vance.
Thanks.
Not a man, I'm a kid.
Is this you? Okay, I'm coming to you.
Hello, Shuriken, bro. Oh my god. And I have like... Okay.
I'm right behind you, Mr. Man.
Here, let me... Yeah, thanks. My team just had a G-head.
G-head. Awesome.
Here you go, man. Merry Christmas.
Oh, wow. Feliz Navidad also, right?
Yep. What you mean by that?
Sugarcane.
Sorry.
Feliz
Give me
Navidad.
that. Dude, I can't wait for Christmas. Are you gonna be part of the, Alright, 1 second, I'm lagging.
Diamond Sword Gang.
Oh.
Is a diamond axe worth it?
No. It's like...
Right.
Yeah. Be careful behind you. Wait, I actually need... Yo, do you have Shuriken, Sebi?
I threw one down.
No, I don't.
We need Shuriken. Here, take this, take this, Sebi. Wait, take.
Oh, wait, can I have lapis? There's some lapis.
Yeah, here. I just need Shuriken. We need to get books, bro. Here, just... Wait, there you go. Here. Actually, you know what? I have fucking 9 more diamonds on me. Does that make anvil? I'll make it.
Not it. Wasn't I
Okay.
supposed to get books from
Yeah.
for being offense? I didn't get
No.
anything.
It's because everyone chose the farmer kit, so we all went farmer.
Oh.
I just need to keep 2
How much levels do you
diamonds. 1.
Okay, come here. Can you enchant my sword?
Wait, just do you have any more lapis?
Yeah.
Does any more levels? Just get three bottles with your pickaxe, your smelter's pickaxe. Make bottles. You can make bottles of enchanting with it with lapis.
What?
Prot. Yeah, because I need my levels to enchant my stuff.
How do I do that?
Just surround the bottle with
Any of you guys
lapis.
have apples? Any of you guys have apples?
No, I need apples too. Wait, do you guys have?
Oh, okay.
Wait, what?
If you guys have apples, like.
No, I need apples as well. I need sugarcane, bro.
Okay.
I need like a lot of sugarcane.
I don't have any of that. I'm sorry, dude.
Paper, no. What about gunpowder? Any gunpowder?
Nope. I've 1 level.
You what?
No, I'm sorry. Talking to someone else. Sorry.
Good. Yeah, just.
Okay.
This is actually annoying. There's no sugarcane. Are you ready? All right, let's go. Let's pull up on a team.
There's 1 sugarcane right there if you need that.
No, it's fine. I need like a lot more. Okay. I see someone over here. 3 team.
Take me in, bro. I
got wither.
How the fuck are you all full diamond? I'm the music boy. Yo, I'm the music boy.
Okay, let me kill you then.
You're absolutely chasing me.
Yeah, we're chasing you, buddy. I'm sorry.
Sorry, buddy.
Wait, you're chasing our teammate, bro?
Yeah, he was
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, music boy.
We're chasing someone, Brett. We're chasing someone.
Don't fucking go for me, buddy. I'm fucking.
Wait, play the music while you're dying.
No, bro.
GG's. Oh, apples. Oh, wait, okay. Oh, we had a shop 2 sword. I'm taking that with pleasure, my friend.
Wait, can I take that and make sharp 3?
Shop 3. Wait. Oh, I have the king's crown as well. Qndres, come here. Wait, what do you need? The shop 2 sword, right?
Yeah, sharp 2 sword. Yeah.
I also have a crown. Who wants a crown?
Doesn't really do anything. All right.
Oh, doesn't it?
No. I really need a blaze powder, bro. If I can get a blaze powder, we win this game.
Oh, I got a shop. That's so
Why am I
good.
so bad? I'm falling
dude,
into
okay.
every
He had
cave.
apples on the ground.
Yeah, pass the apples. Pass the apples. Oh, I mean, I
wait,
make a bunch of
who
healing.
got the apples? Who got the apples?
Actually, I don't need the apples. All right, let's go back for that teammate. Let's go back to that full line.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, okay. Yes.
They're over here.
Who is the enchantment table?
I picked it up. Here, take it. Take one. Just pick it up when you can. We gotta go kill this team though. We gotta hurry up.
Yeah. Aye, Captain.
I have a sharp 3 diamond.
Aye, Captain.
I know. We really need gunpowder, bro. If we get gunpowder, it's like actually GG's. I can't make anything. Just fancy if you can pick that up. I tossed it. It's another right, but I mean we really can't mine it. We can't do anything with 3.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Benito has on him, I think.
I don't know where this guy's team went.
We're already.
I got you. I'll turn him up in a bit. I'll turn him up after this game. Right here. Team fight right here. Right, two team. It's Colin.
Yo, Qndres, leave.
No, I can't. I got warned last time for doing this. My bad,
You
guys.
pushed me in the water, you fuck.
Sorry, boys. Wait, loot. Uh-oh. Teammates.
Oh no.
How are you all full diamond, actually, though?
I was extraing. Really, real.
I knew it.
Very skillful.
We killed a guy with 2 stacks of diamonds almost.
What? Turn.
I feel bad now. I probably should have turned for him.
I'm sorry, Marcus. This isn't anything against me. I just got warned last time for doing this and not letting people go.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Oh my god, you have a knockback?
Yep, that was the only thing I could do.
You want me down here?
Oh my. Okay, let me pick up Marcus' sword.
Alright.
Where's this sword at? Oh,
I
got
don't know
it.
what a team
I
just
shot
picked
this too. Nice.
Okay. Any gunpowder? You're from the US? Yes, I am from the US.
Yeah, our team is getting
25
right
books.
now.
Okay, we gotta go to our team. Let's go. Vance, wait, Vance, you good, bro?
Yeah. Oh, I got. There's a gunpowder here.
Pick it up. Our teammate's dying though. We gotta help our teammate. No, chase on the ground.
Help! We're getting like 4. We're getting 2v3. 2v3. Oh, hey, okay. Yeah, no, we're fine. Thanks.
Tell him to give him that boots.
Holy
Yeah, I'm
shit.
trying to get kid with that
Both
boots.
died.
He's like really low.
Andres,
Oh,
I
but
hate you,
like-
Andres.
I hit him like.
What? Why? That's not very nice. Why do you hate me?
Hit him. He's dead.
Please. Why do you hate me? That's mean.
Nice. Good shit. Nice.
Go get the head.
Get the head. I'm chasing this guy.
You get that head?
Fight me.
Oh, there's another team to our right, Andres.
I know. I'm gonna kill this guy though. Back up if you need to.
No, they're not coming.
Come on. Kid's weird. Do his gaps in the border.
2 heads. Good crack. I don't have any gold.
Take.
Are you guys good?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
good. We're good. Thanks, dude. You actually saved our asses, bro. Holy shit.
You need the gunpowder here, Andres.
Yeah. Does anyone have obby by the way on them? Yo, Nemo, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it.
I have
Okay.
Abby here.
No, I don't have.
Okay, perfect. Can you give me sand or glass sand? Advanced.
I don't have any.
Yeah, can you get some for me so I can make this real quick?
Sand.
Yeah, sand. I just need any
Yeah,
gunpowder
red
as
sand.
well. Yeah, what's gunpowder?
Wait, does
Just-
red sand work?
Yeah. Just no, but just use this.
Wait, what?
Yo, if I can get a blaze powder, bro, it's wraps.
Wait, is this all that remained? Oh no, there's still a few
Got
people
it.
on our team.
Okay, pass you the gunpowder when you have a chance.
I gave it to you.
Oh yeah, I did. Wait, everyone back up. Oh, never mind. There's one here. Yes, please. Oh my god. Gentlemen. It's winnable.
Oh, our teammates are kind of good.
Alright, gentlemen. I'll see y'all later. Peace out. Uh-oh. Where did I TP to?
Anyone
What was
want
that?
diamonds? Anyone want diamonds?
I hear a person with the goat horn. I'm scared. Uh-oh. Oh, that's a whole team with a goat horn.
Yeah, I'm following you.
Yeah,
Wait,
just
I actually don't know where you went.
use your compass to get to me. I'm good, don't worry.
Oh, you're there. Dude, I just don't have any heals, so I'm like on a row and 3 hearts.
Got one?
Okay, I'm gonna be right below them.
Got one? Got him?
Holy shit. Y'all insane. Holy shit.
You have
I
healing?
take pride in being insane.
Okay.
Oh my god, this guy has sharpness 3 book.
Oh, really? I can make short 4?
Oh, bro, these enchant books are so good.
Wait,
Sharp.
pass.
Dude, there's a sharp 4 enchant book.
Wait, pass me.
Give me a
Wait,
sec.
I can make short 5. Wait, pass. Wait a second.
Yeah. Oh, which one is it? It's that one. It's that one. Crafted, dude. Crafted.
Wait. Pants, fast and sharp 3?
Yeah, come here.
No way, dude. Hold on, I'm about to get crazy kills.
W, bro. Oh.
Every single kill, yeah, he gives me poison.
Okay, who has 15 levels? Anyone have 15 levels?
Nope.
Okay, well I need 15 levels for sharp 5.
Oh.
Wait. Actually, hold on. Wait. You can make me your. Wait. Hold on. I'll be right back. Stay right here.
He said, "Hold on, be right back. Stay right here. I don't know no sphere."
Oh my god, I'm gonna make a short 5. What's up, Mr. C?
Mr.
All right, I'm back. Okay, here. Can you craft this for me? Can you craft your bottles of enchanting for me? Fenced?
Well,
Why am I hearing
of course
NPC in
I
my
can.
ear? That's Fence, I know.
Who said that? Oh, yo. Booster, can you please leave the chat, dude? Really making me making me really mad.
Passing the glass still again, Fence?
Here.
Here, can someone else make this for me? Wait, passing other lapis as well, Vince. You have a lapis on you, Benito?
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah,
Here you
I
go.
do.
Here, can you wait? You have a lapis here. If you can, yeah, just make the XP bottles for me. High boost for.
Here you go.
Oh my god. Okay.
I'm going AFK.
You're gonna go AFK?
3, 2, 1. I'm going AFK.
Wait, why? What?
3,
Vance?
2, 1.
Hey, you're trolling. Booster, look at this rush, but look at what I got, Booster.
Actually, I'm gonna go AFK for like 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay. Our teammates being very weird, guys. He just left the game. Can someone put down the entry table? I was saying lapis. I gotta make my armor P2. Oh, I'm blind. I didn't see the entry table there. Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, by any chance, do you have any like spare diamonds, like 2?
Yeah.
Oh, can I borrow?
Yeah, I just tossed on you.
So much, dude. It was so winnable. Oh, got that.
Booster, actually, wait, Booster, want to play? I can actually carry you now. I know the strat. Oh, rip. I keep talking my open mic. I'm so sorry, guys. Wait, can someone try getting Wait, here, take some books, actually, guys. Y'all can get, like, more stacked. You guys have apples by any chance?
No, I do not, my guy.
Yeah, I got 3.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh. Okay. Wait, I can make sharp blue.
content.
Do you have a... Oh, wait.
I like sweating. What's up, ASAP? Alright, guys. Take care of Fence. I'll be right back. I'm going 0-0.
Okay. By the way, anyone have how many levels is this? Anyone have 5 levels?
I'm back.
Okay, well, you're with the team, by the way. I'm 1-0-0. Meet me at 0-0 Fence. I just like, yeah, I see someone here. Let's see if I can like 3-tap someone with this bow, with this sword.
Yo, Qndres. This is my 4th horse I've had today. This is Paprika the 4th.
I'm sorry.
Paprika.
I'm sorry. Paprika's gonna have to die.
I'll just
I'm sorry.
Play. My horse is fast.
Paprika's gonna have to die. I'm sorry. He's gonna have to perish soon. Lucifer, you're gonna have to swell me though. Wait, is you? You have a team. Wait, you're running to your team. Oh, come on.
I'm coming to 0-0, by the way.
Yeah, I'm running northeast right now to this guy. Oh, I see someone. This guy's gonna... Oof. This guy's not gonna know what's gonna come to him right now. Oh, I see a whole team. Wait, I can look and make you a bow if this guy got the pearl. If he doesn't use it. Actually, we would need a... Oh my god. Our team is going in for the kills. Got it, team. Run.
Nice.
Pick up the heads, teammate. There's so many people here. If you see a pearl fence, pick it up.
Okay.
Hello, team.
Oh. Wait.
I'm looking for Halloween candy. Those things give me health, and I want that. Oh, so.
This yellow team has the OP sword, Midas. And who knows how many kills they have. And one has a fire sword I'm trying to get for you. And a flame bow too. There's 3 of them now. I'm gonna try to drop the full iron here.
So. Oh, you're bowing at them. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going at them. Oh my god.
So if wage mate. Be careful, they shed by the way. Got him. Punch him down if you can. Nice.
They got Midas sword.
It's fine, just run away. If you guys, I'm just gonna come back then. Be careful. Run if you can.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Shooting.
They do so much damage.
No, you're not. You're not. Run. Keep running. Got him.
Nice.
Pick up the Midas sword.
I'll get it.
I think it's got 6 kills on it, so you guys are gonna roll now.
I have a sharp 5 as well.
You have sharp 5 too? The Midas sword is sharp 6 right now. Oh, ow, what the? Okay, let's see if we can escape from you. I don't think
Oh my god, I'm hitting my bow shots on this guy.
Uh-oh.
Oh, nice.
He's 18 HP, by the way.
Careful, teammate. Don't.
You were trusting me water. Ow! Nice shot. Oh, I didn't water bucket. Oh.
Good job, teammate. That was like the most stacked team, I'm pretty sure. Alright, what up? I'm gonna gamble all my heads now.
This guy had fire protection 3.
Wait, did you end up getting a pearl or not?
None of them had one. Wait, can I make another jihad?
You can make 2 if you made 2 of them already.
I think I made 1.
It's fine, right?
Make another one. There we go. 11 gapples, 2 jihads.
Oh my god.
Well,
There's still a team of 8 though alive.
that's true, but we can probably take them.
Yeah,
I feel like they're like a team of 8 that like just hide the whole game and don't have loot.
that's true. Yo, teammate, do you have a? Oh, where's the guy here?
No!
I'm so sorry. Okay. This game is actually like, we just gotta be careful at the final fight there. So this is Hypixel? Yeah, literally seems like it is. Paprika shall live. Oh, Paprika's dead. Oh, no, it's not. You have apples, teammate? Oh. That works.
Bro, I had 8. I had 8 from killing that one kid.
Let's see what we get from this. I'm gambling, sorry.
Okay, nah, you're good, you're good. Okay, am I allowed to check in?
Uh-oh.
Oh, TNT. Oh, shit.
death
Back
match.
up, back up.
So it's us, And then
Pull the
a
potion.
team of solo
Ooh,
threes,
nice.
and then a team of 7.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
I can try to get for this.
Oh wait, I could. Wait, Benedetto, let me drop you gaps real quick. No, bro, shut up. I'm here, Benedetto. Sorry, Benedetto, let me get gaps for you real quick. How many do you need? I have 6. There you go.
I see a team of 7.
Okay, I say we go for them. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I am.
They don't look that good.
Come on, we're gonna get destroyed.
Behind me! I need help!
No.
There, that guy.
Yo, bro. Come on, save me for last.
Bet, I got you. What? Guy just critting, bro. Oh, I didn't mean to shift. I'll come back, team. Let me get this kill. Don't skill steal me. All right. Where are you? I heard you.
The last one left on his team. He's gonna die.
Qndres, no. Leave me alone.
Okay, got another guy.
Sorry.
Leave me alone. You're gonna die, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, you will. No, don't do it to me, bro.
Yo, don't kill steal me, guys. Do not kill steal. Let me fight this guy one-on-one, mano-a-mano.
You realize he's my kill, Andres.
You too bad, bro. No, I'm just kidding. I love you.
Andres, you realize he's my kill, right?
Don't kill steal. Don't kill steal. Don't kill.
He's 3 HP.
W. Should I get 13 here?
I'm gonna kill this guy, Andres. I'm gonna kill him.
Go for it. Nope, never mind. I'm gonna kill for him. Unless my teammates, I'll kill him.
Kill me!
Right here, Andres.
Dude, this shark. Everyone screeny, guys. Screeny. GG.
Hey guys, welcome to another
Hey guys, welcome back to another Minecraft YouTube video.
Hey guys,
This
welcome back.
welcome back.
Welcome back.
This is another 13 kill game, 8 in a row.
Hey.
Let's go! GG's.
This try's fun. I love watching this. GG guys, GG's.
GG gangsters, GG.
Yeah, I don't know who voted you the king. I'm just kidding. GG's, bro. We go again, fans.
It looks like it's past my bedtime.
Okay, bet.
5:30 in the morning.
Aww.
What am I doing?
So I'm playing by myself now.
I'm
Oh.
gonna go.
Okay, good night, fans. You're welcome for the win. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, good
I
night.
only got 1 kill.
Did you actually? What?
Yeah.
I probably should have given you the ender, bro.
I feel like I should have. I feel like I should have gotten more. Like I was just owning.
Yeah, well,
people.
I saw you kept taking damage, just like just fall damage, weren't you?
Bro, I was taking fall damage, but like I would still take fights and not lose a heart.
Jesus.
Thank you.
All right. Well, GG's, fans. Bye, fans. Love you.